All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Intel Extreme Masters Grand Finals. That's right. We are going to be casting the IEM Katowice World Championship Grand Finals. Between these two players, we have a new world champion, and yes, full disclosure, I cast this live on the stream. It was a pleasure to do so. My internet crapped out in the final game. It was a bit of a disaster, but other than that, it was a really fun series, and we've got a new world champion at the end of it. So I won't be throwing any spoilers out, but we're just going to cast this for the YouTube channel to catch up those who haven't been following the tournament live. And I'm going to be dropping some analysis as we go, because I'm sure now, not being as excited in the moment, I'm going to see more things that I didn't notice at the time. Up here in the top right, he looked dominant in this tournament. He looked so damned powerful up to this point, crushing almost everybody in his way. In the top right, in the blue, it's Zest. And down here in the bottom left, in the red, the Zerg player representing Clash Gaming, it's Reynor. So Reynor's expansion got blocked by the probe, forced to go and take his third hatchery over there. And going into this match, you got to remember the last time they played, it was a best of 3 in the group stage. I think it was the second match of the group. And Zest 2-0'd Reynor. He annihilated him. Game 1 was actually on this map. It was opposite spawns. Reynor was up the top. Zest was down the bottom. And Zest went for the 2 Stargate Void Ray build. Nice quick third base. Reynor was being super greedy. Except it wasn't Void Rays, was it? It was, I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 Void Rays. It was 1 or 2 Void Rays, and then it was Mass Phoenix. And Reynor, so the Void Rays came up and started like hitting the queens, like somewhere about here on the edge of creep. So the queens came forward to fight the Void Rays, and like 6 Phoenix came in and just picked up the queens and killed them all. And then Zest flew in and killed every single Overlord with his Phoenixes. And it was like, Reynor was on like 60, he was at 80 out of like 0 supply. He had like almost no Overlords. He was absolutely destroyed. It was really brutal. So Reynor literally just died to surprise Phoenix. He thought it was going to be the Mass Void Ray build. And I've got Ryan in my Twitch chat who actually says, I believe it might have been 3 Void Rays even. Either way, 2 or 3 Void Rays, double Stargate, Mass Phoenix. So that was a big surprise. Game 2 of that series, Reynor tried to do a big Roach Queen Nidus. And Zest just defended it with Void Rays, cannons, batteries, a couple of Immortals and Archons. And Zest's specialty at defending those big Queen busts is getting a lot of Immortals out early. A lot of players just go straight Zealot, Archon, Storm. And Zest was the one who was originally doing that. Zest would often get 6, maybe even 8 Void Rays, and he hit you with this vicious Zealot, Archon, Void Ray timing while having a 4th base going up behind it. And he was just killing people with that. But his adjustment, now that there's more and more Queen pushes and Roach pushes coming out, is Zest is just like, I'm just gonna have 3 Immortals ready by the time you come, and they just kill the Roaches really well. So very well played. Now notice that Zest shaded that Adept out, but then he went backwards. So Reynor doesn't know if that Adept's on the map or if it's here denying scouting. But Reynor doesn't even try to scout. Protoss players are so good at denying the Zerglings. He never tries to scout with Zerglings anymore. This is the evolution of Reynor's play. So Reynor's he leaves his Overlord out front, ready to go back to the high ground if a Stalker pops. But once he sees an Adept, or sometimes he waits for the second Adept to pop, then he flies on in and he says, what are you doing in there, buddy? Where's your tech? And just sacrifices it, sees that it's a Void Ray, sees another Void Ray starting up. So good information for Reynor. He knows there's at least 1 Void Ray. That could get cancelled and be turned into an Oracle. But for now, Reynor doing his standard play. So immediately, once he sees the Void Ray, every Overlord on the map, he pulls those way back to safety where the Void Rays can't get them. And you'll notice he always starts with 2 Creep Tumors on the 3rd. He lets the 3rd Queen that pops out do an inject. It then joins the Creep Queen. So he's got 2 Creep Queens really early. And the 4th Queen replaces as the new permanent injecting Queen. But if he's in trouble at any point, he can always pull his Queens and scramble together to defend. Now, Reynor doesn't know if an Oracle will be coming next or not, so he actually is going to just delay the spores and always have 2 Queens in the main, and 2 Queens should be near the 3rd. So you'll notice, he's going to send these Queens back. He should build a spore in the natural if he wants to be really safe, but Reynor is the king of greed, so he's got 3 Queens there, 2 Queens in the main, ready if an Oracle comes in. His Zergling's poking, he sees a Void Ray, sees an Adept here, and he doesn't actually confirm the 3rd. There we go. He does see nice quick 3rd base. So this looks all normal, standard Void Ray macro build. That being said, though, Zest is doing a tricky boy. No pro production at all. He stopped at 2 bases, 2 gases. He's got charge on the way. He's doing a charge lot all in. So he's going to build a Warp Prism out of that Robo. So he's going up to 8 gateways here. So that's 9 gateways, in fact. He's going to chrono a Warp Prism. It's going to be a surprise charge lot attack. These Void Rays both looking to just deny scouting. Reynor needs to get some of that info. He's going to come in here. What's he see? He doesn't... I would have liked to see him poke that natural and poke in to actually look at the units. Reynor being a bit lazy on his scouting. He doesn't want to lose too many Zerglings to the Void Rays, but that's really lazy. You need to check and say, hey, are there multiple units there? Are there multiple units there? Obviously, they can hide it, but you really should be looking for that. Reynor's going +1 melee. He's now building a spore at each base just for a little bit of extra insurance, and he's being very, very greedy. His lair is even really late. He didn't start his lair till after 5 minutes. So he's just going mass, queen, and melee Zerglings. What is he going to play for? Lingbane Ravager, I think, is his goal. But he's delayed his Roachhorn for such a long time. It could be Hydrabane. Maybe he's planning to play 80 drone Hydrabane. Either way, he only now sees these Zealots arrive. He drops a Baneling Nest in panic, but he's just queued up 7 more workers. He's going to double the worker count of Zest. And Zest is catching him with his pants down. Spinecrawler dies immediately. I think he needs to give up his third and just pull all his queens to his natural ramp. He's going to try to cover both. He cancels the 4th base, but look at this. Oh, he's even got sentries. He wants to force field that ramp if possible, but the Zealots are starting to go ham. Good surface area on that 3rd base. Reynor, oh, I like that. He puts a queen there in the gap, but the Zerglings can't really get a wraparound. Those Zerglings should pull back and try to surround, but he's worried in the natural. His Zerglings and queens getting surrounded in there. The Void Rays focus firing those queens. The queens have to run from the Zealots. The Spore finally landing some hits. Those queens pulling back. The Zealots doing insane damage. Too much surface area on those queens. Those 2 queens in the back, unable to reach the Void Rays. Great pullback by Zest. Queens from behind might be able to take out the Voids, but the queens are just falling. Zerglings are not enough to deal with this as the Zealots tear everything up. Drones, not the unit you want to be fighting Zealots with. Queens just don't do enough damage to kill Zealots, and that's an easy win here for Zest. If he gets 1 more Zealot warp in, yeah, that'll be it. Checkmate. Game 1 goes to Zest. Cheeky charge that all in. Reynor being way too greedy. All right, an easy game 1 victory with a little bit of trickery, some good scouting denial, and a fierce all-in attack. Starting off the series with a bit of momentum. Down here in the bottom right in the blue, it is Zest. Zest known for his timing attack style of play, and he's once again committing to a super early probe scout. I always prefer 13 pylon to this. Wait, what? Oh, he's going to wait as well? Pretty sure you can return those minerals and it only delays the gateway by like a second. I mean, it's pretty far on this map, but that's 5 minerals, whatever. It doesn't make a difference, I guess. Still gets the gateway only on 40 seconds. Anyways, up in the top left, being as greedy as you could possibly be. I tell you, man, he's got very good early game, but he does not need to be that greedy. In his games against stats, he often got a Baneling Nest at about 420. If he wanted to play Hydra Bane, like it looked like he wanted to play in that last game, that game, it was 6 minutes, and he's like, oh shit, you're coming at me? Let's start a Baneling Nest. That was just obscenely greedy. Up here in the top left, he's going to have to play a bit better with his scouting. It's Reynor. There is sometimes an arms race of greed in Zerg versus Protoss where both players are trying to get the edge over the other player, seeing who can actually kind of just get a bit ahead and have that little bit of momentum. I say while blowing a speck of dust off my glasses there. 1 second. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think he's going to be a bit safer after that. And you know, Reynor has spoken in interviews about Zest being a very aggressive Protoss player, about how Zest is always going to come at you with some fierce timing attacks at some point in the game, and you've got to be very prepared for that. So he has taken the low ground 3rd, interestingly. It's good to push queens forward off that base to attack your opponent. But it does also open up this angle for Void Rays to come in from these angles and push in. I do wonder if he takes the 4th up here, because then he can zone out the edge of the map with queens. Probe being super annoying. Now, you notice Reynor doesn't choose to ever attack that, but he does lose a bit of mining time. His drones got bullied off that patch for a little bit. He does fix it up a little later. Now, notice he's pulled 2 workers off gas nice and early because he likes to get his 3rd hatchery before Zergling speed. Almost always. Every matchup, basically. It's really, people are saying, look, the first Adept gets here pretty early anyway. He's actually going to, he's going to get it this game. Okay, a bit of a quicker ling speed this time around. Maybe not every game. Against Terran, yes. But against Protoss, he's going to get the ling speed, especially with, I guess, a small map like this. I personally don't feel comfortable without ling speed. But if you delay it, you get the hatch, then the ling speed, you'll still have ling speed kicking in for when 2 adepts arrive. Not for the first adept necessarily, but very soon after the second adept arrives, you'll still have that ling speed kicking in at about 350. And for now, it doesn't look like he has to worry about it. Zest just looking to deny scouting. And this is something Zest likes to focus on as a player, remember. We saw this in his grand finals last year against Rogue. So he goes for a Stargate once more in the high ground. Oracle first this time. Not bad. I've talked a lot about how I wish Zerg players would actually just punish the fact that Koreans often put the Stargate here. Very often. Trap does it every game. Zest does it a lot. Cyril started copying, not copying. He started using, probably by chance, I doubt it was from watching me play, but I was about to say he started copying my scouting pattern when he was playing Trap. I'm like, okay, easy there, Pig. Put the ego away. But you guys know what I mean. Basically what I do is my Overlord comes here and it skirts along this edge. And then that way you can easily poke in a bit early before the first Stalker could be out and spot if there's a Stargate. Oh, the Oracle spotting that, by the way. Nice sniping. And then if the Stalker comes, you can always run to the low ground. If the Stalker runs around there, you can run to the high ground. And you can basically make your way down here to the dead space. And if the Stalker chases you too far, you can potentially surround it. But the idea then is if they're chasing you with that Stalker and you combine that with two Lings trying to run in at the same time, you get basically a guaranteed scout because you can dodge the first Adept on the map. If their Adept is hanging out defending it, that means they don't actually have a Stalker. Your Overlord can go in. Sometimes you lose the Overlord, but often you can scout without actually sacrificing any units. And when you're up against a Protoss player who consistently puts their Stargate in such an exposed location, your Overlord literally gets to here, you see the Stargate, you can immediately go home with that Overlord. If you want, you can wait to see if it's a Void Ray or an Oracle first, but it's just such a big head start on knowing what line you want to go down. Because in Zerg versus Protoss, basically at the latest 3 minutes 30 is when you decide, but you need to have the information of, am I playing against a Twilight Robo, a ground Protoss, or am I playing against an air Protoss? And it's very different from 3 minutes 30 onwards. Oh, Zest with a big mistake! Not only gets 2 drones on the first wave, but then he loses the Oracle as well? Oh, that's really rough, but a nice 6 Adept pressure coming. There's only 3 Zerglings right now. Ooh, Reynor could take some big damage. Okay, Zest doesn't know that there's so few Zerglings, and he doesn't have an Oracle to join up with this, but he's got an Oracle in the main and the natural. He's doing double Stasis Trap pressure. The Adepts go in, losing drones. 3 drones go down. Stasis Trap in the main. Oh, he pulls back at the last second. Well microed by Reynor. The Queens come forward, and he buys time to get Zerglings out. So now with 13 Zerglings ready, that Shade has to get cancelled. 5 drones go down as this Oracle goes back in and gets 2 more in the main, but that could have been a lot worse. Reynor had no Zerglings. He had like, what, 4 or 5? So that was a very scary moment there. Maybe Zest could have been a little more aggressive on the front with those Adepts, but 5 drone kills keeps the Adepts alive. They go home to defend. Not a bad play from Zest, who's playing a very traditional ground-focused follow-up to this triple Oracle. It's a real bummer. He lost one of them. Does get 2 drones of that Stasis Trap, but so far, Reynor is handling this aggression just right. He doesn't even have an Overlord down here, but he's got a great vision up here. He's got a really good ring. His creep is getting out of control. So Reynor's handled this early game very well, and if there's one story of this tournament, it is that Reynor is the best early game Zerg at defending all the pressure Protoss and Terran throw at him, and Zerg even, but especially Protoss and Terran. He's the best early game player in the world. Like, Reynor was consistently getting ahead in his semi-finals, in his round of 8 matches, in the early stages, because he defends so bloody clean. And I think here, maybe a slight lead for Reynor. Still not a bad build for Zest. He's got the Oracles alive. He's going into Charge, Archon Tech, Robo. But, yeah, I mean, that 4th is not very quick, actually. That only went down at 6 minutes. So Reynor can't, I mean, he's building a few drones for that base, but he can't really get proper mining going there for another 30 seconds, 40 seconds. So he's just massing Roaches and Queens for now. And where is Reynor scouting? So he hasn't seen that much. I think he realizes because it's triple Oracle, that's always going to be a ground follow-up because there's no Void Rays or anything to stop a frontal push. So he's going to go in with his Overseer, but for now he hasn't gone Hydroden, Spire, Infestation, but he's not going for any tech right now. So Reynor is like, I make some Roaches and some drones. And you know what? So far, it just looks like Zealots +1 charge. Against this, the best option for Zest, I mean, I don't mind moving out to pressure, but I think the best option for Zest is to make Psystorm and probably a second Robo. He's not building Immortals right now because he's only got 1 Robo, but against someone who just masses Roaches, like Dark does this a lot. Reynor, and I really love that Reynor's picked it up. Dark does this a lot, and it's why he's so good in Zerg versus Protoss, is he'll just make a shit ton of Roaches because so many of the Protosses are timing attack oriented. If you just make a shit ton of Roaches, defend their attack, you win the game. The problem comes from the fact that, look at this, he's forcing mass Roach out of Reynor. It's just Roaches and Ravages. Reynor's trying to hide this Roach Ravager back, but the revelation of Zest, he got that on that Overlord, so he sees that there's a shit ton of Roach Ravager. There's no reason for Zest to attack here. He doesn't have a 4th base up, but if Zest could just secure a 4th, get a second Robo, make a lot of Immortals, add some sort of splash damage, maybe Psystorm, that'd be great. And Reynor does start his tech, the Infestation Pit. He's going 7 more drones, so it's going to be 80 drones for Reynor, Mass Roach Ravager. So he's still got an awesome economy. So he will be able to pivot into, I would imagine, Swarm. I don't know if you want to go Swarm Hosts here. Maybe Swarm Hosts. It would be kind of late. Maybe Infest. Maybe just go Hive and add Vipers to deal with Immortals and stuff. There's a few different options, but for now it seems like Reynor is just in survival mode. He sees no 4th base. He kept poking here with Zerglings. He keeps sending Changelings in there. He's got a Roach up there. So Reynor's going, look, as long as you're on 3 base and I have a full 4 base economy, even though I'm making shit units, they'll keep me alive, and my economy puts pressure on you. You're the one who has to attack. Zest coming in. He's got his army spread on 5 different angles. He's like, down here, and up here. Okay. It's pure Zealot Archon, though. 22 Zealots, 6 Archons. Really good if he was dealing with Lings and Hydras and stuff, because they're just raw damage, meaty units. But against Mass Roach Ravager, I don't know if this is going to work. I do say the fact that Reynor doesn't have that many roaches down here means that side could get overwhelmed. But up on the north, he's got a way better army. Zest is still focusing on clearing creep. He's taking a 4th base now. He's going for +1 armor. So he's going 1-1 Zealot. He's now making Stalkers. So Zest is trying to win with gateway units. I've played a lot of Southeast Asian Zergs, Protoss players who do this. It's just pure Zealot Archon with a couple Stalkers mixed in. This is a crazy attack, and Reynor's going to kind of surround that army, but that means this army on the south will get blitzed. On the north, he's getting overwhelmed. Quick drone pull does get him out of there. These Roaches and Queens on the south getting overwhelmed, but that top army just crumbled. That middle section, yeah, Zest's got to pull back here. He's got to pull back. The army on the north, if he clicks on that hatchery and pulls back, this might be okay. I don't think he can overwhelm. He's killing quite a lot of stuff. The Queen's going down. The Roach Ravager count going down. Those Oracles doing very well, focusing on those Ravagers, but the Zealots, they've all died on this south. This south army is getting worn down. The Roaches are trying to move down. He's going to lose that 4th base 100%. Reynor knocked back to 3 bases here, but he's cleaning up the army, and he hasn't taken critical drone losses just yet. Those Roaches pull back on the north. He cleans up the entire army. So the north is defended. If he can hang on the south, this is a hold, and indeed it is. Zest here, I think he was hoping that as this progressed, Reynor was going to go to like 9,500 workers, Lurker Tech, Viper Tech, like all these fancy upgrades, and then catch him in the transition with, I have 30 Zealots and a fuck ton of Archons and Stalkers, get out. Doesn't work, because Reynor scouted no 4th. So Zest did not do a good job of hiding what he was doing. He kind of foreshadowed it a little bit. Now he's just got no units. He's just dead. 4 Archons can't do anything. He's going to lose his 4th base. Yeah, no, that was an all-in attack. That was a big all-in. He was hoping to catch Reynor being greedy. But Reynor, they're getting a good read on Zest and just saying, as long as I max Roach Ravager, I will be safe. This is the best defensive composition in the game. For the early to mid-game, the Roach Ravager just doing a good job of defending those Zealots, kiting them back in sections. And Reynor, he scouts it, he crushes it, he shuts it down. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Game 3. Reynor, they're getting a good read. I mean, I'm telling you guys, I've lost to the situation in that last game before where I'm like, oh, I've got to transition to better units, right? It's like, you know, we're getting pretty deep in this game, but if the Protoss doesn't take a 4th, and the Protoss is so obvious with that Zealot Archon marauding around the map, we saw Reynor respected it, he appreciated it, and he did not diversify. He said, we're going all in. Roach Ravager to the moon. And it worked out for him. Gets a game on the board, ties up the series. Down here in the bottom right, the young Italian. Some call him arrogant. I call him fucking entertaining and awesome. This is Reynor. The Italian stallion, Young Caesar, apparently is the new nickname people are calling him now. He came, he saw, he made roaches and ravages, he made queens, and he conquered. His opponent in the top left, though, he is indeed the best, but I think a bit too obvious. I think he hit his build so well in game 1. Game 2, that was, I think he foreshadowed it. He showed his opponent what he was doing too long. If Zest took a 4th base as a bit of a fake earlier, wasn't as obvious with his armies marauding around the map, I would have preferred it a little more, especially if you've got a Prism in the main to warp in Zealots there. That would have been really sick. So I want to see something a little bit more sneaky / clever from him in this game. In the top left, in the blue, it's Zest. Many call him the most handsome pro gamer. Some were lamenting the fact that at Katowice, they didn't get to see that as much, because normally you see him on a stage standing straight with his chest out, and he's got that posture and those shoulders and shit. Instead, he was sitting there with his orange hoodie on, the whole time, just staring at his screen with the eyes of a psychotic killer. Like, Zest was in kill mode this whole tournament, dude. He's just there. The hoodie was up the whole time, sitting there in his house just murdering. It was pretty cool, man. He looked very scary. Reynor, on the other hand, was rapping the whole time. He had his Italian rap. He did release the playlist after the tournament, by the way. He had a lot of people criticizing, saying this is pretty bad music, dude. He said, I didn't say it was the best music. It's hype music. It gets you hyped, man. He got very defensive after everyone started criticizing his Italian rap that he was like on the webcam at the start of every series, just like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. You know, we couldn't hear what he was saying, but you could see him just like, he was so G'd. But we did see him get a little bit more serious, I think, in the semifinals, and then here in the grand finals. There's a little bit of rapping, but not as much as in the earlier rounds. He looked a little bit more laser focused. As it felt to me like the real test of Reynor in this tournament was his players kept forcing him to adapt to really weird shit and strong timing attacks and things. They didn't let him play his game very much. He's coming into this off a very rough series against Maru in the semifinals, which started out really just Maru not letting him play his game at all, forcing him to play a late game that he's not as confident with, and forcing him off his favorite unit composition. But for now, he says, you know what? I can play Overlord speed. I can be just as careful as Serral when I need to. If my opponent's going to try and kill me with Max of Zealot Archon in PvZ, well, I should probably make Overlord speed and scout really well. And so already got an Overlord over there and Overlord there. So you see they're kind of far back because he wants to dodge any first Void Ray. And then when OV speed kicks in, which it just has, he can come in with these Overlords and try to scout. And he's got to try to see, does a second Stargate go down? Now, normally Zest will go double gas. So third Nexus, double gas, second Stargate, and non-stop Void Rays from then, if he's going to be doing the non-stop Void Rays. But for now, an Oracle, the Void Ray, just looking. Still hasn't found an Overlord just yet, but... Ooh, is he going to see it? He's queued south. He gets a glimpse of it, but Zest, very quick reactions. Spots that Overlord, takes it out. Third base is on the way here, already at 350. Overlord coming in towards the main base. Sees no production on the Stargate, but it's not time for that yet. 2 more gases on the natural. That Overlord does fall. Of course, Reynor skipping Spore in the main, skipping Spore in the third. Wouldn't be surprised if he drops a Spore in the natural. He hasn't just yet. He could get in trouble. He sees this Oracle. He's got one queen. The other queen's not quite ready. He needs to bring her down. And okay, well positioned. Notice he puts his queens there. So if the Oracle wants to drive past, it was going to take a lot of damage, because the problem is he had no defense in his natural at the moment. He did pull the 2 queens from the main down, but he's going to have to rotate those back up there. He's trying to skip every Spore. Reynor trying to be so greedy here. And remember, guys, Reynor puts back on gas so late. He's just put back on gas now. He only had 1 worker mining up to then. Goes for a quick lair 440, and he's going to play very safe. Roach Warren, a very quick Evo chamber. So that is something. He's going to get quicker upgrades this game, just by a little bit. Normally it's Roach Warren Lair, and the Evo will go down maybe when the Lair's halfway done, maybe when the Lair's almost finished, sometime around that. He likes to start Roach speed and then his +1. Similar timing, often the +1 just a little bit ahead of it. Now, of course, we do see Forge Twilight. There is a second Stargate, but he's not really using them. He's actually gone Forge and Twilight off just 2 Void Rays. And he does start these Void Rays. He shows the second Stargate, but it's almost like he's just showing that. Reynor doesn't see the quick Forge and the Twilight. So Zest, I mean, he's gonna let these Void Rays finish, right? They're not fake, but I think he stops at 4. I don't think he goes past that. He's already got charge and +1 on the way, and he's gonna go straight for gas on the third base. So this is gonna allow him to go Templar Archives and Robo, 6 more gateways, and then take either, I mean, does he take a quick 4th? Does he go for a push? Ooh, Reynor's trying to fake a big queen walk. He's trying to fake a soul stroll through the middle. Zest sees that though. Does Zest freak out here? That looks kind of scary. He sees the queens turn around though. I think Reynor realizes that the Void Rays could just come and kill those with the Oracle, so he doesn't really commit to faking it out. Zest does not take the bait at all, and he's just like, not even building cannons, I don't care. I'm just building my gateways, which I needed right now, but they double up as a wall off. So 3 more gateways going down there. The Robo now starting. I don't think he's done the Templar Archives just yet. Oh, he's building a 5th and 6th Void Ray. He is adding those Void Rays. Okay, despite the very fast charge and +1. And there we go, that Templar Archive's going down. 12 more workers on the way. Infestation Pit coming down. Oh, ow, 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 ow. Now, we haven't actually seen a Swarmos build or anything like that here for Reynor. Now, this looks like it's probably going to be his Lurker build. The problem is, for Reynor here, his Hydra Den's not started. He's got a queen building in the main. He needs to cancel that queen and make a hive if he wants to go. Yeah, but he also, you're meant to start the Hydra Den when the Infestation Pit's halfway done. So this is something Reynor consistently was late on, was his Lurker, his Hydra Den, then his Lurker Den, and his Lurker upgrades. So unless he's just playing Roach Queen Viper, yeah, he starts his Hydra Den consistently late in this series. Like, it's meant to start before the Hive, not after the Hive, because a Hydra Den and a Lurker Den take longer than a Hive. You want your Lurker Den finished when the Hive finishes so you can start your upgrades. So Reynor here, actually a little bit sloppy in this, and a little tidbit since I'm casting this after the fact. He may have mentioned that he didn't actually ever practice this build and kind of had to make it up on the fly a little bit because he knew the build, but he'd never practiced it a lot. So, a little tidbit here, casting off replays. We get to know a little bit of insight, but it's still a very scary build. And I mean, it just means he's going to have more stuff when he actually hits the attack. Just means his upgrades might be a little bit later. Now, Zest here, he's seen a lot of stuff. He hasn't seen the Hive or the Hydra. He doesn't know what he's up against just yet. Overseer scouts, everything going on. We've got Storm, mass gateway. Whoa, he's going 5 more gateways. He's going 13 gate zealot. Okay. So Zest's answer to this style, he's going to play mass zealot Archon Psystorm off of those initial 6 Void Rays. This is fascinating. But no Immortal production. He's playing a pure gate style. It's the same as the last game, but with Psystorm. But now he's building a fleet beacon. That doesn't make... No. Why would you... What? I'm so confused by Zest's build order right now. Why is he going for a fleet beacon if he's going 13 gates? Surely that's too much gate production if you're also going 4 carriers. Maybe his idea is he'll get momentum with just crazy amounts of Zealot run-bys, move an army around with Psystorm. He sometimes does split his Archon Zealot High Templar into 2 armies, and he actually threatens on both sides. And if the Zerg tries to jump on them, he's got Storm with both armies. So it could be, hey, I'm going to get map control and do it that way, and then just slowly kind of increment out carriers behind it. But he hasn't started air upgrades. The Overseer sees the fleet beacon finishing. Reynor is already morphing 10 Lurkers. He's making spines, 4 spines there. He's got spores 1, 2, 3, 4 in the main, completely zoning out any warp prism. There's nothing that can do, and he's taking a 5th base on the left. He's going to start to push through. It looks like he's going to push through this left side and try to break this base. And Zest, he's building 2 robos. I think he's seen this, right? I think he saw that move out with his Oracle. He's grouping his army up. 2 more robos. Those are not going to be ready in time. There's no way. The problem is he doesn't have anything to kill the Lurkers except the Void Rays. So the way he's going to have to do this fight, he really needs to just be warping in Zealots. I don't agree with carriers right now. He's got enough gateways. I think he could beat this with a massive ground army. Oh, he's going to do a Psystorm there, but his army's kind of zoned out by these Lurkers now, and this army can just walk forward. He's got a flank on the left ready. Oh, I really feel if he wants to take this army out, he just needs to max on Zealot Archon, use the Void Rays to shift-click down the Lurkers with Prismatic Alignment, because they do great anti-armor damage, and let your other units just A-move. But you've got to come at this with a big surrounding angle, and already he's bleeding out Zealots. That cannon is doing very well, as is that Immortal, but the Immortal's not getting healed. There's no battery there. Oh, he's got a High Templar with a lot of energy. The Zealots do okay. These Psystorms, they wound, but they do not kill. And with that much Queen energy, he can just heal these up. Reynor getting this push going in a big way. His Lurker Seismic Spines is done, and that means he's got 10 range on those Lurkers. They can outrange cannons. They can get in range of this Nexus. He's going to try and break his gateway and get back here. So it looks like Zest is just going to give up this base and try to get out more Immortals. But an Immortal Zealot engage has to flank. You cannot engage Lurkers front on with Immortals. Not in big numbers. Not with mass transfuse. He's going to try to pick away with the Void Ray range. He's got 1 carrier out and 2 more building now. But just small numbers of carriers aren't really going to cut it. Some big Psystorms on the army. He does engage, but that's a big... Oh, man, there's too many Lurkers. They're all attacking there. And their spines just crossing that gap like crazy. The Immortals are taking a lot of damage. Zest here bleeding into this Lurker push right now. His Zealot run by, I think it must have been cleaned up by a rally. 22 more Hydras are rallying across this map for Reynor. They're going to pop out soon. He's pretty low on anti-air. He's only got a few Hydras and Queens, but it seems like the Interceptor count is completely gone. And the Immortals are just not enough. They don't do enough damage to the Queens and the Hydras. The Zealot's getting cleaned up. There is just nothing to get rid of this Queen buffer. Too many units here. Every time the Zealots go in, the Transfusers land, the Lurker Splash takes them out, and Reynor here with a fantastic push. I got to look at that game as Reynor takes the 2-0 lead. It looked like Zest had so much production. I really feel he may have been able to surround this. So here's the strategic choice that I think I would have loved to see from him in terms of how to unpack this push. He spots it here at this point. I think he spotted it at this point. He sees the rocks going down. I would have loved to see him. Screw this triple robo. It's too late. Screw the Stargates. Fuck that shit. I think, honestly, just keep building immortals out of your one robo. Make as many zealots and archons as you can. First of all, get your whole army here and engage him as he pushes into you. Force the lurkers to siege up, slow it down a little bit because he's maxed and you're not. You need a little bit more time. Here is Zest. Maybe build some more cannons here as well. But I love the fact that he split zealots off to the left, units to the right, and was trying to defend here. So that I think the idea is, though, you got to slow it down. So as he comes through, the problem is he doesn't intercept. So maybe Zest didn't actually see this happening. The way he uses his arm, I think he just didn't realize it was coming, to be honest. I think just a scouting error. Because if he was forward, the lurkers have to burrow and inch their way forward little by little, and you can pick off some of those lurkers as they go. Remember, Seismic Spines isn't done. These are only 8 range lurkers right now because he screwed up his timings, did Reynor. And you can Scythe Storm. Then also if the queens get up front, you can feedback them. You could potentially take them out, slow it down. And then when you max on Zealot, Archon, High Templar, if you come in from the right, here, and here, and you surround them in this open area, I think you're going to F that army up. Maybe not F it up, but I think you got a much better chance than what happened here. I don't know if that works or not. I want to see it. I want to see it. Because his immortal count's low, I'm not sure if the Void Rays is enough damage to actually kill the lurkers quickly. But I think because when you attack in a spread like that, the lurker splash just doesn't do very much. So, we'd see how it goes. Anyway, Reynor takes the lead 2-1. All right. Let's go into the map. And number 4, it's going to be El Submarino up here in the top left. He's leading 2-1 now. Nice Overlord speed scouting in that last game. This is Reynor. This is, of course, the smallest map in the pool. And down here in the bottom right, it's Zest. Now, Zest is actually, once again, sending one of his first probes across the map to block the natural. I don't even think a 15 hatch goes down to like 43 seconds. He gets there at like 39, 40 seconds. This is obscenely early from Zest. Zest is like, even if you go like 15 hatch, I'm going to block that shit, son. You have to take your third base. And Reynor pretends to go to the right, but then he actually veers around. Oh, Reynor's going pool first. Oh, look at that. He goes pool first. So Zest goes over there. He's like, hey, where's your hatch? He goes back here. He doesn't have the money, but Reynor's Overlord sees the probe come back, so he hides his drone. Probe's like, oh, you didn't expand there either. Zest is like, what the hell is going on right now? He's like, where is this hatchery? And Reynor gets the hatch down. Some clever moves there. I really like this choice because you can still do some pressure off this. You can see he's already got 2 lava saved. So he's going to have 6 Zerglings popping out for pressure. He could just do 4 if he wanted. It's been scouted, so maybe he changes it up and just builds an Overlord and some drones and only 2 Zerglings. But 4 Zerglings do powering up. He goes straight for 6. Does delay the Queen slightly because he doesn't have the minerals. It's going to be a nice little pressure. Zest reacts with Cybercore before Nexus. Does he build a second gateway to wall off? Does he build a Zealot? Let's see. He does start a Zealot, but he hasn't started a second pylon yet. Very important to get that second pylon down ASAP. There we go. Because, of course, you're supply blocked on 23 as you start up this next probe. Those Zerglings are on their way across the map. The probe here, trying to kind of escape here. I don't know if he's mineral walked it or not. He has, yeah. You can see it's phasing through the Zerglings, not getting blocked. So Reynor won't be able to kill it. And he goes back through. So he's going to go back and scout for the follow-up. And it does indeed look like Zest is just going to play very safe here with a gateway wall off. Willie, though. Willie, nope, he doesn't have the money. He doesn't have 150 minerals. He didn't want to cancel anything. So he's like, shit. Okay. And a few extra probes pulled down. He does actually have to pull some probes, so I think that's really nice. I mean, the Zerglings, he already got his hatch down in position. He's forced the Cybercore before Nexus, so slightly delayed Nexus. Gets a bit of mining time in the main. Doesn't kill anything just yet. If he could get a probe, that would be massive. Doesn't get a probe, but he gets 4 Zerglings out. Ooh, almost gets that probe, not quite. Yeah, you know, a little delay on Zest's mining. Goes home. Going up to 3 queens is Reynor. Reynor's got a very quick ling speed behind this. So ling speed before third base. And he's going to send that drone out now to take the third. So Zest here is just going to wait for the second adept before he goes for a pressure. He says, let's just keep it simple. Double adept pressure, always hard for the opponent to deal with. He drops a second gateway in the wall and a Twilight Council in the main. Overlord for Reynor intelligently. He sees a second adept and he's like, yep, let's just go right on through. He sees the Twilight Council. And if he clicks that to the very back of the base, he could get out the back, or he can go to the left and hide down this way. Looks like the left is the answer. I think that's not the safest spot. I think he should be going this way to the bottom left. Otherwise, this Stalker may get a kill. The Adepts come in. Did they get a kill there? Looks like they did not. That creep tomb is looking a little exposed. Can they get it? Oh, not quite. 6 hit points remaining. And a Robo goes down here as well. Glaive Adepts, Archons, which one will it be? Reynor knows it's one or the other, and as I said, yeah, that Overlord now has to steer to the right if it wants to survive, but a little too slow in the reaction. That Stalker's going to get a pretty easy kill here, I would imagine, as long as he just micros it down here. He can just bring a probe to the high... Oh, Zest messes up his micro. All he needed to do was run a probe to spot the high ground and move the Stalker to there, and he would have killed that Overlord. Now, if Reynor goes straight left from here, he survives... no, I think he... No, he gets it. He gets out. Oh, Zest. Missing out on an Overlord there. That's a mistake, dude. That's a bit of a bummer. For now, though, the Adepts have gone home. They forced a handful of Speedlings out. Very even in workers on either side as the Dark Shrine goes down. And this is a 4-gate Dark Shrine. Keep in mind, the build orders have been slowed down on both sides, so it's not the fastest Archon drop by any means. Pool first, forces a Cybercore first, Zergling pressure, double Adept pressure. There's been enough interaction. They've both kind of gone and done little bits of pressure. As long as he warps in before 5 minutes, I think Zest will be okay with this. He's going to put guys on the gases, and he does need to get extra pylons started. He's going to go with 2 Adepts to start. Where are his pylons? Oh, he had another one finish up in the main anyway. Fair enough. He's got enough supply. So how quickly does he move out to take a third behind this? One more pylon does go down. That DT Shrine not quite ready yet. That is the thing that's going to be lagging it here. He could warp in now. Zest trying to be a little sneaky. Yeah, there we go. Finally, those 4 DTs warp in. This is Reynor's first tell of exactly what he's up against. He's got a Spore in the main, a Spore in the natural. That Spore in the third will finish. Just barely in time. 2 Queens and 5 Roaches. Easy defense. Oh, Zest actually almost lost a DT there. He went pretty deep. But he can, of course, just morph those into Archons, come in with a follow-up wave. He's still got these 2 Adepts that can threaten as well. But with Zergling speed out, 12 Zerglings on the map. If Reynor catches those, that would be very nice. In fact, the third base goes down. Doesn't even have a unit over there yet. The Adepts are coming back, but they're a few seconds too late. Reynor finds that tiny moment of weakness, and oh no, the Adepts should have shaded into the gap. They don't. The 2 Adepts get surrounded. The Zealot comes down. That does mean I think he can defend the third base, Ken Zest, but he's losing a lot of units for this, man. He's worried about his wall-off getting breached. The Archon drop at the same time is going to do some counter pressure, pull Reynor's attention away. As right now, +1 range starts up. Reynor just squeezing in a few drones, a few roaches, a few drones, a few roaches, trying to defend here. The Archon's coming on in. Nice transfuse on this roach and hot pullbacks. That Queen getting very low. Nice transfuse on her, and she barely squeezes through that gap. Not a single unit going down to that Archon drop. The unit's lost tab is meant to be really good for Protoss with this build order, but the Zerg is still meant to be okay because they have a much quicker third, and the third gets delayed for the Protoss. In this scenario, it's identical units lost on both sides. This is an incredible position for Reynor. He is dominating these openings, and I mean, Zest is going to find some creep tomb. Is that something? Does push this creep schlong back off the map, snips it a little bit and takes it down. But he hasn't really done any direct damage, and that roach count's growing. Reynor's on 63 drones. The only thing he's missing is this one gas in the main. And yeah, he could start a 4th base to progress, but he doesn't need to. His opponent has no workers on the 3rd. Overseer flies through, sees a shit ton of gateways going down, no Forge, no Templar Archives. This is about as all in as Zest could possibly be. He is coming forward. Those Archons trying to drop on these Roaches and Queens. Zealots, Sentries coming on forward. He's got 2 Immortals, a 3rd Immortal in production. Charge is about to kick in. It's a 3 Archon. Where's his 3rd Archon? 3rd Archon, 3 Archon, 3 Immortal, Zealot Sentry push. Now, how many force fields has he got in there? Not very many. He's got maybe like 5 force fields right now. He wants to trap a lot of these Roaches up against him, and Reynor does gift him that fight. About 6 Roaches get trapped on the right side. Still a lot of damage coming out though, so the Zealots are getting taken out. One Corrosive Bile does break a force field. I like this Roach maneuver on the left. Creates a bigger and bigger arc as his units close in, and those Sentries are starting to fall. One Sentry with a great force field extends its life for a moment, but the numbers are just here for Reynor. He's got so many Roaches, Ravagers, and Queens, and he's got a 17 worker advantage as well as holding off the push. That puts him in a monstrous position. The higher tech units of Zest do survive, giving him hope for a follow-up push. Maybe warp in another round of Sentries and see what you can do. Sentries, of course, going to rely on... Oh, you gotta be careful! Oh my god. Okay, Reynor chasing a bit too far here. That Prism is a very powerful unit. You don't have any mobile anti-air as Reynor, as he splits off 2 Overseers, 1 with Contaminate, 1 only a few seconds off Contaminate. So he's going to go in and try and Contaminate probably the Robo to stop Immortal production, but that's not even being used right now. It's just a round of Sentries, another Archon morphing in, and Zest is just going to keep going with his 46 probe all-in attack. Reynor takes a 4th. Roach Ravager count is growing. Reynor takes a 6th gas. Random Spine Crawler in the main, because why not, I guess. Gonna defend, I guess, an Archon drop up there or a Zealot drop. Overseers come in. They don't see anything to contaminate just yet. Zergling run by in position. He's going to lose the 4th base. Nice snipe here for Zest. Reynor doesn't want to run down that ramp. He'll get force fielded. He's got to be careful. It's a scary ramp, man. Zest knows that if he attacks into a concave, into an arc of Roach Ravager, if he fights him in an open area, he's going to get swamped. And Reynor sees everything, and he's like, oh, you've got barely any probes on that base. I am so far ahead right now. Reynor feels confident. He feels calm. He feels focused. And with +1 attack there, +2 started, no attack upgrades for the Protoss. So Reynor's tech is still pretty low. It's not a bad army for Zest, but there's no Immortals being added to this. If his Immortal count was going 5 to 6 to 7, I'd be a little more worried for Reynor. But because he's just making Archons and Zealots, it's a bit problematic. He does make a 2DT run by on the left. I love that maneuver. If he can get another cancel on the 4th, keep Reynor on 3 base, and then max out, he'll be good. But Reynor has run past him. He caught a glimpse of it, so he's going to try and get back there. These Roaches are going to try and do what they can. And really good warp in here from Zest, who just jumps on top. How many probes can Reynor get? Zest even pulls the probes back. Nicely done. Just trades out for a few Zealots. The wall-in going to go down. Ooh, Zerglings get on into the main, the natural. And Zealots warping in up there. The Roach Ravager kills the Cybercore. There is Zerglings in the main. A nice hold position. He's going to kill a bunch of workers there. 2, 3, 4 do go down. Pulls back his main army. He doesn't want to fight in those narrow, choked up areas. He wants to fight in the open. Zealots do clean up that Zergling run by. And this is all Reynor. Reynor's +2 is only 30 seconds from finishing. He's so far out on upgrades. Oh, his army. His army gets caught. He accidentally attack moved home there rather than doing that the right way. Oh, because DT's got in his base. They only killed a couple of workers, though. The spines, the spores, the Roach cleans that up. Random Queen gets caught on the map. Reynor's still up 70 supply, and most of that is army supply. 50 army supply lead, 20 worker supply. He's building bank. Reynor's getting a little antsy to fight. He doesn't want to headbutt into force fields, but he does want to trade. He's maxed out now, and he really should be trading. +2 kicks in. It's time for Reynor to fight. And Zest, I mean, he's so eager to not let Reynor's economy get any further ahead that he wants to fight as well, but I mean, he needs the right angle. He's sharking around. He's just looking for a mistake. He's looking for Reynor to derp in. He wants to split Reynor's army, take off about half of it with force fields, take that bit down, and then clean up the rest afterwards. But he's not getting that opportunity. A sentry goes down there before the fight even really starts. That's a good round of force fields. Ooh, big Biles taking out an Archon and a sentry. He cleans up a lot of that Roach Ravager. You see the real intense power of force fields with this army when those Zealots and Archons can actually close, but mass Roach run by in the natural into the main, killing 9 probes and forcing him all in. Zest has to commit to this. Spine Crawlers even finished being added in here. There's a Queen there as well. She might even be able to drop a transfuse. She's going to go down before she gets a chance, but Biles taking down these units. Oh my god, the Biles are landing in a big way. Drones being forced off the line. Zest doing an incredible job with this 0 upgrade army. But +2 Roach Ravager too good. Reynor takes the game and is 1 map from finishing the series. And let's go straight to map number 5. Down here in the bottom right, he needs to win the next 3 in a row. And if there's anyone who can do it, it's the big boy himself. It's Mr. Well, he's not the big boy, sorry, that's parting. It's the tall boy, the handsome boy. Zest is best. It's Zest. And his opponent up here in the top left in the red, representing Clash, just needs 1 more game to become the world champ. It's Reynor. I'll tell you what, standard Twilight openings against Reynor, I do not think is a way to go. I have seen him shut down so many of those Twilight builds. I think you got to play Stargate against him. I think he's so damned practiced against those Glaive Adepts from how many reps he got against that over the last year. It's kind of the same as like a lot of the standard Zerg vs Terran openings. He just shuts down the Hellion Lib multi-prong, shuts down the Banshees. He's so good at shutting it down, man. There is a reason Reynor does not like Void Rays. Gateway into gas. Very standard opening here. I also think we're going to see an interesting meta change with Parting's new build order, where he goes for the quicker Nexus, the 17 or 18 Nexus. I think against Zerg, you just go 16 gate, 18 Nexus, gas, and it's just a better Stargate build. I actually really like it for Twilight Council Archon drop as well. I found it was a really smooth build order. There are some beautiful change-ups with that faster Nexus. I can't wait to explore that on the ladder later this week. as this probe. You notice Reynor just micros his drones. He just says, okay, you're occupying that patch. Just micro the drone, micro the drone. Says, oh, you still, okay, now you're microing this patch. So you'll select this drone and tell that to click, 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 click. Select that drone, click, 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 click. Okay, you're on that patch. Select that drone, click, 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 click. Select that drone, click, click, click. Ah, he missed this one. He had to go do something else. So he missed that. That drone got bounced off. So now he's got to double them back up over there. See? Zest is so fucking annoying. Oh my god. Finally. He accidentally harvests 5 minerals and leaves, but really nice harass from Zest there. Just occupying the mineral patches, breaking away before he finishes mining, occupying the mineral patch, breaking away before, just swapping between both pylons. Really nicely done. Stargate coming up here in the main base. A well-timed Stargate at a 2 minutes 18 beginning. And that Overlord just camping above the natural. Remember, he doesn't care about Zergling scouting. Reynor very happy to just scout with this Overlord. And he did go Overlord speed in some of the previous maps. I wonder if he goes for it again here. Indeed. And remember, this is not expensive. Well, it's not super expensive because this replaces link speed. You still have to mine extra gas to get link speed started a bit later. It still does cost you something, but it's basically saying, look, I'll do without link speed in the start. This guy is not being super aggro with 2 adepts. It's pretty rare that he does that. I can have a delayed link speed, no worries. And as always, the first queen that pops from the third drops 2 creep tumors. Now I wonder if he puts one there to try and connect backwards, or does he just put one up there? For now, it looks like he's spreading 2 tumors to the front, which seems weird. So, okay, yeah, he's going to spread bam, bam, up that way, I guess. Interesting. Or does he just spread straight through the middle and take this as a 4th? I doubt he'd do that. That would be kind of wild. Overlords have pulled back. Didn't want them to get sniped by that Void Ray. He doesn't know it's a Void Ray, but obviously that's one of the most common openings Zest has used. Zest already moving an Adept to the 3rd base. He's already thinking about it. And oh, head-on collision. Uh-oh. Ow! Ow! Stop it! Why? And that Overlord goes down very quickly. He's going to have to rely on the other one to scout. And I think when you see Overlord speed like that, you just bring your Void Ray back to a central position because you know another Overlord's going to come in. So yeah, look at this really big brain by Zest. He's like, look, if I just hang out here and patrol in the middle of my base, the Overlord will come to me. And Reynor is going to come in. He's going to see that Void Ray. Run! Run, Reynor! He does see a 3rd gas. Sees a pylon there, and he's going to go down without getting much information at all. All he knows is it's a Void Ray, and there's more gases. He's like, God damn it. First Oracle coming across the map here for Zest. Already a much better start than that last game, I would say. And, oh, even more. He's going to get a drone. Can he get a second? Ah, does run into 2 queens, 3 queens. Does get a second drone. You know what? Not bad. Doesn't really take any damage. 12 hit points is fine. He can handle that. And that Spore Crawler. He will let that finish, will Reynor. He's got his queens, 2 in his 3rd. Only 1 in the main right now. This queen's going to spread a tumor and go up there. And look at his creep spread. 2 tumors there and a tumor here. Yeah, he's going to spread it straight through the middle. I mean, he's done some queen walks throughout this series in the earlier ones, so that's going to give him a head start on anything like that he wants to do through the middle. Maybe more focused on the creep as a path of aggression rather than defense. Void Ray's going to pick off that Overlord. Oracle finds an undefended base. That second queen was not in the mineral line. We pointed that one out before and loses 3 drones for it as the Overlord. A 3rd Overlord goes down. This is a good start for Zest. 5 drones, 3 Overlords. Hasn't lost a unit. He's equal on workers and he is chrono boosting probes on all 3 Nexi. Zest is like, yeah, no danger, no threat here. Hold down the probe key. Forge and Twilight finishing up in the main base. So he's got a really smooth opening here. Going up to... So I feel like he's always going 2 Void Rays, Forge, Twilight, 3rd and 4th Void Ray, 2 upgrades, and then often he goes for a 5th and 6th Void Ray right after that as well. And Zest is scouting. He sees lots of drones, no gases on that natural, so it looks like all steam ahead macro that he's scouting. As the lair finishes, the +1 range is here. Oh, he didn't build a Roach Roar in this game. Reynor, you greedy boy. I guess he saw the gases earlier, and he saw the Void Ray shutting down his scouting. So Reynor kind of assumed there was no ground follow-up and has built the latest of all Roach Roars. This is a very greedy play by him. And so far, looks like... I mean, he's on 66 drones. Does he take a 4th? Where does he take a 4th? This one? Looks like for now he's on 8 queens. He's building 2 more. Non-stop queen production. He starts link speed now. He delayed that for a long time this game. Another Overseer comes in. This time it's a speed Overseer. That unit is fast. It's basically a permanently stim-packed Overlord. It sees everything going on. So he goes, okay, yep. Forge, Twilight, ground transition. We see a Templar Archives. We see some gateways over here. You'll see more gateways and a Robo at the 3rd. Really good scouting by Reynor, who might even get that Overseer out of there potentially. The Void Ray's coming back, though. They say, get out of my base! Get out! Gets the changeling as well. 7 more gateways to go up to a total of 9. Reynor moving down to take that 4th base. He's got an infestation pit on the way. Reynor, it looks like he's doing his lurker build. Let's see if he makes the adjustment and gets that Hydra Den earlier this game, or if Coach Lambo was sleeping at his duty. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Lambo actually and Reynor have a reason for why the Hydra Den is never done on time and why his upgrade's always late to the push, or maybe it's just something in the heat of battle that Reynor wasn't paying attention to. But the thing is, the Hive can start now. You need to have already had the Hydra Den going by now. And once again, a little slow on that. There's a pressure on the front, so his Hive hasn't started. He sees this push, and Reynor's kind of freaking out right now. So he's not starting his Hive. This is just a light pressure, though. He doesn't know. He thinks there might be a prison warping in lots of zealots. So he's massing roaches. He's pulled all his queens. He's just got a handful of zerglings. He's building spores. They're coming to the front. Oh, you know what? He's moved his spores out of his natural, which means this Oracle could come in later. Unfortunately, Zest fucked up. This Oracle's been turned on this whole time. It's Pulsar Beam. It's losing energy. Oh, no. Zest. He realizes. He's like, oh, shit, quick, kill a drone. And he goes to the base that has like 10 queens at it. Oh, that base was wide open. He could have killed like 6 or 7 workers there. Bit of a bummer for Zest, but nonetheless, full steam ahead as Zest takes, what the fudge, the earliest 4th of all time behind that fake pressure. He's already got a cannon and battery. Storm's kicking in. He's already got High Templar gathering energy. He's still scaring Reynor on the front. He's threatening. He's forced Mass Roach. He's delayed the Hive. Where is the Hydra Den? Okay, the Hydra Den is down. The Lurker Den's finally starting. That's not going to finish till well after the Hive. That's going to finish about 25 seconds after the Hive's done. So his Lurker upgrades are going to be delayed about a full minute, if not more, in this game. So Zest here is actually just rushing to the late game, and he's going Fleet Beacon. So it looks like he wants to go carriers once again. The Immortal here, the Adept, more Zealots warping in. A nice little surround for Reynor, but these are 0/0 Zerglings, and that is what we call an Immortal. It's called an Immortal because they can't fucking die. Definitely not to a handful of Zerglings, as that doesn't find anything for Reynor. And Reynor's built a shit ton of roaches. You know what's in the previous games, he didn't want to have this many roaches. He'd have like 15 roaches maybe. But this game, he's actually maxed out on way more roaches and less hydras because of the pressure. Zest just rocking up with a few Void Rays, an Archon or 2, 1 Immortal. It was very light pressure, but because Reynor builds no fighting units except queens and a handful of Zerglings, it actually scared him into a big reaction. So I think Zest is showing a big brain understanding of how he plays this style. But the Lurker Morph is here. 12 Lurkers, Lurker range on the way. He'll queue up Adaptive Talons after that. Zest already going to a 5th base, the Madman. He's got +1 flyer attacks on the way. His first 2 carriers are almost popped. That's awesome. So he's going to have carriers out way earlier. He does have 6 High Templar. He's already got 4 Immortals with a 5th on the way. So he's going to have a very healthy Immortal count. Something he was lacking on Death Or. Remember, he had like 1 Immortal when the push came. 5 Immortals. If you get those in a nice line, they can easily take out Lurkers. I think it's with +1, it should just be, only 4 Immortal shots to kill a Lurker. They only have 200 hit points and 1 armor. Each Immortal is doing 55 damage a shot, soon to be 60 as +2 kicks in. The push is coming. Ooh, he's going to try and land some Psy Storms. Don't want to lose any of these units. The Roaches run forward trying to punish, but they can't chase too far. Big Zealot run by runs into a wall of Hentai there. Reynor preparing well with a bunch of spine crawlers and a shit ton of roaches shutting down this Zealot run by. So Reynor's going to push this on back and clean up those Zealots. They got to get the hell out of there. That's not going the way Zest wanted. He's got a 3rd Stargate on the way. His 3rd and 4th carrier are about to pop out. He's got only 1 carrier here. I think the other one's just idling somewhere. I don't know where. Another big Psy Storm lands, but he's losing interceptors in each of these fights. Oh, a big storm goes down, and it looks like he did feed back the front line of Queens there as well. Roaches on the 5th base going to run in and do a little bit. If this can pull Zest out of position, it can allow the Lurkers to run forward. But Zest ignoring that. He knows those Roaches, that 5th base, that's not super important right now. That's a distraction. He's got to stop this getting sieged on his base. If this gets between his bases, he's going to have to headbutt into it, and he does not want to do that. He fights while the Lurkers are on siege. He's going to land another big juicy storm in the middle of those Queens. The Queens are out of energy. They've run dry. A few more Queens rallying in, but he's got maybe 4 transfuses across this whole army, and he is losing those Queens. Those Lurkers coming forward, but he's actually just going to stand and fight. Those Immortals landing hits on these northern Lurkers so damned hard. The Roaches have run in on the right side of this, but the cannons and the batteries doing okay against that. That last Immortal rallying in does pull back just before it goes down. Zealots and cannons look like they will clean up the Roaches. He's just going to go right back in. Zest still has Psy Storm energy here, and there's nothing supporting. So he's just going to use Psy Storm, Immortal carrier. It looks like the Immortals will go down. He doesn't want to lose all of his High Templar. There's almost no interceptors. The carrier's doing shit all damage here. And those lurkers will get out the tail end of that fight. A bit better for Reynor than for Zest, but this is essentially an all-in attack. Reynor's only on 73 drones. He lost 7 workers, looks like, on this base, and he hasn't even put back on gas, so some Zealots managed to get by in the midst of that. And what's the carrier count at? 6 carriers, 3 more building right now on these Stargates. He really needs +2 air attack. He starts it now that he's stabilized. He's got a lot of Psystorm and a lot of carriers. A big Psystorm goes in. Does he have any detection? Oh, he doesn't have any detection. The Oracle. Oh, he misses most of the lurkers, in fact. A bit of a mistake there. Zest actually can't see 2 of those lurkers. The Observer's coming in now. He does have a lot of carriers. And that shield battery overcharge keeping these High Templar alive. Reynor's trying to snipe them. He gets rid of one of the High Templar. But if he can land just one more big Psystorm on these Hydras, I think he'll be okay. There's only 15 Interceptors right now. The Hydras looking like they'll overwhelm. Zealot Archon's going to try to come in a big Psystorm on the Hydras. Right now, that's 35 Hydras with +2 attack. And there's not many Interceptors. The Zealots and the Archons, though, get a big angle on this. There's only 2 lurkers anchoring it. The Hydras are very fragile, and there's not any Interceptors left. But even though there's no Interceptors, these Void Rays, where did those Void Rays come from? Zest holds on and crushes it. Sorry, were those Void Rays just not in the fights this entire time? He left his Void Rays in his main the whole time. He forgot about his Void Rays, fam. The whole time. Zest had his Void Rays up in the main. He forgot about them. I didn't even realize that. That's so funny. He brings him into the tail end of it. The Zealot Archon looks like it was going to break it, but he had 4 Void Rays to that. Zealots coming in from all sides. Beautiful engagement by Zest. Gets another point on the board. Reynor still leads 3-2. All right. He's getting closer to bringing it back. He's got to win this game and the next to win this series. The World Championship awaits for the victor. And I'm sure the mind games are going to continue. Up here in the top right, that was an excellent hold in that last game. In the blue, it is none other than Zest. And down here in the bottom left in the red, it's Reynor. And Zest is going to come across once again, block that expansion. I did have technical difficulties casting this live, sadly. My internet died for the rest of that day. It was a super big bummer. The rest of that day, it was just like, goodbye, internet. And did have some tech difficulties, so I'm going to get to absorb it and focus a little bit more. I really want to see, you know, the reads the players make and the mind games that potentially go on here, because I really wonder what happens in these last games in terms of the details of the reads. You know, I get to control the camera now. I couldn't do that while I was casting this live, and definitely just doing little rewinds like that and being able to check little details here or there is very important. But so far, we've seen when Zest gets very aggressive with traditional ground-based plays, whether Oracle into Charge.Archon, hasn't been very effective, right? When he did Archon drop into an Immortal Archon Sentry Push, not very effective. When Zest plays Void Rays and Sky Styles, or when he opens and fakes Void Rays and then does a very cheeky all-in like in the first map, that's when Zest seems to have the most success. So I want to see Void Rays out of Zest, but I do want to see him really keep an eye out, because Reynor showed 4 different types of bust against Void Ray plays up to this stage. And if you guys want, go check out my video that it's either up now. I'm not sure what order we're going to publish these videos here on YouTube. So if you're watching, it'll be either up very soon or it's just gone up before this video. But he's got 4 different busts, and we go over the 3 most important ones, and they're all a little different. But the one conclusion I came to is that there is a one-size-fits-all response. I mean, that last game was a brilliant response to a queen push, right? That was great from Zest, but it also relied on him being incredibly greedy. He got a massive read on exactly what was happening and managed to get into a massively awesome economic position. The one thing, even if you're a little behind, that will stop a queen push is you've got to have balls. And I know people say, Pig, stop being chauvinistic. You know, there's a lot of people who don't have balls who also enjoy StarCraft. You know, stop being so fucking sexual and weird. No, disruptors. You need disruptor balls. They will stop a queen push. A queen push is the slowest, most unmaneuverable push. We saw Psystorms and feedbacks, as well as some engaging and disengaging, do really good for Zest. Do you know what can always do that, even if you don't have a sick wall of Immortals and a really good forward position to slow down their push? A disruptor, or 2, or 3. Queens simply cannot push into disruptors. They're too slow. They can't spread against the shots. Disruptors will always find a crazy value. So that's something where I don't think saw anyone go disruptors, Zest, Stats, anyone in this tournament. And I think a lot of players didn't want to get that immobile disruptor unit that slows you down, that gets kind of destroyed by Abduct. So if they get quick Vipers, you then need High Templar as well as the disruptors. Your army gets kind of complicated and can get a little bit muddled. And it massively, if you go that, because the disruptors are weak to the Vipers, you then need to add High Templar and probably Storm as well. So you end up going for so much ground-based splash damage. It's a lot of gas. It slows down your ability to push across the map, like these big Zealot Archon Void Ray pressures and pushes that Zest does. It also makes it harder for you to just get to Sky Toss in terms of it delays you getting to that powerful point. So I think the reason we've seen all the Protoss players be unwilling to play disruptors is they don't want to slow themselves down. And pro play, it's so easy from the sidelines to say, well, he could just counter it with this. But we're not taking into account that he's probably in practice done that a bunch of times, and he's seen the Zerg make the correct reaction, and he feels like the Zerg wins out in that trade, gets a little ahead, right? So we're going to keep our eyes on what happens as Speed Overlord sees the third base. He hasn't really confirmed anything else, but remember, it's only the second Stargate that's the important thing to scout. Yeah. It doesn't go down until after 4 minutes because it's third Nexus, double gas, then the Stargate. So this Overlord, perfect scout by Reynor. That Void Ray, it barely misses the Overlord. Compare it to last game, remember? It was Void Ray Oracle, the single Void Ray, killed 5 drones. Sorry, 3 Overlords. The Oracle killed 5 drones, the Void Ray killed 3 Overlords. This time, he's killed 2 Lings for 2 Adepts, nothing else. The Oracle hasn't found any damage. There's 3 Queens there. Queen, Spore, Spore Crawler there. So a little bit of extra safety from Reynor with the Spore in the main. I do like that choice. He knows it's Void Ray, so he's pulled his other Overlords back off the map. This Overlord's going to get sniped down there by that Void Ray, so finally finds a little bit of value. Second Void Ray there as well. So remember, it's 2 Void Rays, Twilight Forge, then 3rd and 4th Void Ray. Zest just loves this progression. It's a really solid way of playing, man. It's a very solid way of playing. As a few Lings are going to come out across this map, see what they can find. Reynor behind this is going for a lair and a second extractor. It's not a very fast lair, and as he oversaturates these bases, this looks like just his most traditional. This could be a Lurker push, could be a Roach Ravager push that we saw in Jagannathverse stats, the one where he forced his way through a choke point in ugly fashion. It was one of the most disgusting pushes we've ever seen, but it worked out. We'll see exactly what he's got in store for us. Is there a Roach Horn up? Wait, no Roach Horn. Reynor? 4th base goes down. Okay, now his Roach Horn's so late on this Roach Horn. Oh my god, he's such a greedy boy. He's got such a good read on the fact that there's no ground follow-up. Sees the 2 Stargate, sees the 3rd base. Just says, hey, I don't need that. Let's just go straight to 67 drones, get a 4th base up. These Void Rays are in a very defensive stance. Zest is going to see this 4th. 6 minutes, the 4th is already down. That tells you you're not being hit by the Hydra Bane timing. The Hydra Bane Queen timing, there's no 4th base. So Zest is going to say, okay, don't really see any tech yet. Still doesn't know what it is. We haven't seen an Infestation Pit or a Spire or a Hydra Den just yet. We'd expect to see one of those in the near future. Meanwhile, Zest, the gateway count proliferates. 1, 2 gateways. He's got the Robo there. The Templar Archive's finishing. So once again, going to go up to 9 gateways is Zest. And the Oracle going down the right side of the map. Just Queens and Roaches in production. Nothing else. Reynor at 75 drones. And this is a little bit lower on economy than what he did on Jagannathverse stats, which was, of course, an 81 drone Mass Roach Ravager Queen. The Queen production is not halting. There's only 1 building right now. Normally, if he's going to do a Queen push, he'd continue that up to like 14, 15 Queens. But it seems like, wow, he's spending all of his money on Roach. Oh, wow, this could be a bit more of a sharp push then. Void Ray comes in and finds some drones, does get a Spore down, loses 1, 2 drones, make that 3. Well done. Good micro by Zest. Really well done. Cancels the Spore, doesn't want to have that Spore Crawler there. A sign of aggression in of itself. As Zest here moving out to a 4th base. He hasn't seen any other tech, and he doesn't realize it's just Max Roach Ravager. So he's like, oh, cool. I mean, I've seen a few Roaches. I've seen a lot of Queens. I've seen you droning your 4th. I should take my 4th. He's getting Psystorm on the way, +1. And those Void Rays going to try and take out that Overseer. It is a speed Overseer, so it could get out of there. Void Rays give up on that. The creep is on the friggin' doorstep. Oh my god. The creep is on the doorstep. Reynor's going to push across. I think he should actually push down the right because there's more creep there. He's trying to chase off that Oracle. Oh, he pulls back from the Revelation. He doesn't want to show that he's going to attack. He's actually building 3 more drones right now. Reynor still does not have any tech at all. This is the Jagannath build, 100%. This is the ugliest Queen Roach Ravager push you guys have never seen. He's going to morph 12 or 15 Ravagers in a moment with all that gas bank. And then he's just going to go, yep. Oh my god. He sees no gases. That's got to be a tell. That's got to be a tell, mate. He hasn't seen the Queen walk just yet. Zest needs to make 1 billion cannons and batteries right now. His Psystorm's ready. He's got 6 High Templar, gathering energy. He's only got 2 Immortals. He'll have a 3rd one soon. I think Zest may have seen those Queens. He may know this is coming. He's only got 1 cannon and battery on the 3rd. He's got some minerals right now, but he needs to appreciate the power of this push. That is an absolute monstrous wall of Queens. Feedbacks 3 of them. Drops a juicy Psystorm. Big Psystorm on front. He's going to take down a lot of these Queens. If he can kill all the Queens, the Void Rays will carry it over, but there's still more Queens behind that. He doesn't have that many Void Rays. Remember, it's only 4 this time. Biles landing on the Archon. Reynor focuses that one down. Oh god, he's already cracked through. He's already cracked through. There's no batteries here. Where are the shield batteries and cannons? They're all up on the 4th base. Zest was not expecting such a surprising number of units to come through from a Zerg that's droned their 4th base. He's like, what the hell? Aren't you investing in any tech units? How do you have this much stuff? Reynor says, joke's on you. No upgrades other than +1. No more tech. It's just Roaches, Ravages, and Queens, dickhead. And he's actually going to get through. He's building non-stop Queens and Roaches behind this. He's going to lose all of his Queens. Can he kill that Void Ray? If he kills that Void Ray, the Immortals need to focus that Queen and then pull back. You got to get the Void Ray. Okay, the Void Ray defends. He holds on against the first wave. You got to pull back those Zest. Remember the same thing that happened to Stats. The first wave gets held, but the follow-up is too powerful. He doesn't have any more cannons and batteries finishing. This base is really weak. It doesn't have the static. Over at the 4th is a much better position for him to fight, and there's just too much Roach Ravager. 1 Immortal falls, a 2nd Immortal falls, a 3rd Immortal falls, the focus fire, and Archon goes down, and it's just so much Roach Ravager. The Remax bringing it back. 2011 wants their build back, Reynor. He says, yeah, Stefano was a hero of mine. Let's fucking go. Roaches, Ravages, bam, bam, bam. And Zest is like, are you fucking kidding me? And he has to tap out. We've got a world champion off a sneaky build. No one plays such a big macro game and stays just on Roach tech except Reynor. And he friggin' does it again. As long as you don't do this build too often, you've been doing so many of these lurker builds, these hive tech builds. So you bring this out as a surprise and it hits like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes earlier than that build with the lurkers. And like, they're like, whoa, what? How is this already here? How are you cracking in at 8:30? This is crazy. Dude, if Zest had a bunch of cannons and batteries over here, I do think he holds on this game. I do. It's such a bummer for him that he's building cannons and batteries. Like, oh, you're pushing down here. What? I think, obviously, yeah. I mean, disruptors would annihilate this, right? Oh man, it's just. Let's look at Zest vision. This all comes back from 6 minutes 30 onwards. Are there tells? Because I did a breakdown. And let's break this down really quickly. How did Zest miss this? Because it's so hard to realize what's coming with this build, but there are tells. One of the main tells is no gases on the 4th base and maybe not being fully saturated. The other one is not seeing any tech. So if you get really good scouting, but you don't see tech, that's a tell. One of the problems Zest has is he only has 1 Oracle, and that's a good scout, but he doesn't have hallucinations. He's got no sentries. He doesn't have extra Oracles or Phoenix. So this 1 Oracle is his only scout, and notice the Queens are always zoning him. So let's watch this from Zest's vision, and let's take a little look-see. He sees Roaches there, but only a few. 7 minutes, no drones on, not that many drones on the 4th yet. Maybe, but the 4th is just finished. Not the biggest tell in of itself. It seems pretty normal, all things considered, right? Okay, yeah, I'll take my 4th. He's got his 4th droning. And let's fast forward till the next time he scouts. So the creep definitely scares the shit out of me. And I kind of wish he has an observer. If his Void Rays went out with the observer and cleared creep, that would have been big. He left this Overseer alive and he sat around with his Void Rays. I think this is a crucial mistake for Zest in this game. I think if he went out and actually cleared the creep up a bunch, and there's no reason not to, I think he could have been in a much better scenario. I'm very confused at why the Void Rays sat so defensive for so long. Now this is a moment where surely you realize something is up. You've got so much creep on the map, and you see a big pack of Queens. He revelates, and he looks at home, and he's like, okay, all right. The Queens aren't pushing. He builds a cannon and a battery there, looks at them. He still doesn't know what this is. I think Zest forgot about this game that was played earlier on in the round of 12 by Reynor in the group stage. Maybe being second into the finals. The second semifinal gives you less time to prepare and go over those matches and remember your opponent's builds. Did favor Reynor in this World Championship Grand Finals. It did a little bit. It's not a big difference, but sometimes it matters. And he doesn't really know till then. I think at this point, he still has time. He just lost his Oracle by flying into the Queens. If he drops 2 cannons and 2 batteries out here, I think his chances go up massively of defending. And he sees the armies coming to the left, so he should know it's over there. What else can he do? Crisis management-wise, honestly, he needs more pylons. And I think just build more batteries and cannons. Yeah, like there. I might even build a battery in the natural. But yeah, keep building Immortals, Zealots, Archons, High Templar. I think he did a really good job with his Psystorm. But this is also something else. If you're relying on Psystorm, remember in that amazing hold that he did in the previous map? I said, well, Zest has so much energy on these High Templar, it's great. This time he doesn't have as much energy because the push is earlier. I said I would have 8 High Templar. If I was worried about a Queen push and I didn't want to go Disruptors, I would always get 8 High Templar. Why? Because of this. This ugly as fuck, eating every single storm, disgusting push from Reynor. This is an ugly push. And it's always going to eat massive splash damage. It's just, do you have enough splash damage to take advantage of it? Zest did not. He ran out of Psystorms here. So if you have 2 more High Templar, even if that's just 2 more Psystorms, I think that's worth way more than this Archon. I think Immortal count plus Psystorm count is key. And one of Zest's specialties is adding these Immortals. He's got 3. Where's that Robo? He's got 3 there. Unfortunately, he gets supply blocked here. Not for very long because the Nexus finishes. But yeah, if he can just get out more Immortals, the Zealots and Archons really don't help you much at all. They really don't. They help a little bit when they try to flood on forward, but imagine another Storm or 2 landing right now. I think Zest pulled back from this choke point a little too quickly. And he does land another big juicy Storm in a moment. Right there. But then he loses a High Templar before it drops a Storm. If he had a few more Storms landing on that ramp, a battery, like I said, a few batteries out here and cannons to overcharge so he could stand his ground with his Immortals and just sidestep Biles, but otherwise keep shooting and hold him. On this area, I think you can honestly do so much damage with Storm. And remember, if you just survive here, you're okay. Lastly, but not least, after your 4th Immortal, you actually should build a Warp Prism against this build. Maybe even after your 3rd. I think after your 4th or your 5th Immortal, probably 4th, because what we saw against Stats and here against Zest is they both survived with a few Immortals left over, and then the next wave of Roach Ravage just overwhelmed them. But if you have a Prism to pick up and juggle those Immortals, I think you can actually hold on, because we've all seen what Immortals plus Warp Prism Micro does to Pure Roach. In the end though, Reynor hiding his builds well, defending well, macroing well, scouting well. Zest simply could not find any purchase with his aggressive builds, and he also was not consistent enough at defending Reynor's hugely committed pushes. This was an awesome grand finals. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I love the chance to cast it live and another chance to look at it again here and really reprocess those games and see what went on in this Zerg vs Protoss meta. This was fascinating. This was awesome. We have a new world champion. He defeated the best Terran Maru, the best Zerg Dark, and the best Protoss Zest, which means he is now the best Zerg in the world. He is the best player in the world. Reynor, runner-up in the previous World Championship, champion of this one. No one can deny it. Reynor's the best. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye and good night.